we are coming across a word GST in climate change negotiations. So let's see what this GST is. The GST is the global stock take, which was mandated under the Paris Climate Deal under the COP21. So this GST is a kind of report card of NDC targets, that is nationally determined contributions, as a part of COP21, where countries committed and made their targets to reduce the emission and increase the share of renewable energy. So this report card and the outcomes of the first 5 years of implementation of Paris Climate Deal, it will suggest the future path to meet the climate goals, and the course correction will be undertaken under this. This Bonn Conference is being organized by the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change and its two subsidiary bodies, that is subsidiary body for scientific and technological advice and subsidiary body for implementation. The discussion and agenda which will be set up here for the GST and finalized in the 28th COP in UAE by the end of this year. Why the discussion of GST and the Bonn Conference and COP is important? Because IPCC has already highlighted in its 6th assessment report that the global efforts to reduce the emission is not on track. If the current level of emission goes on, then by the end of this century there will be an increase in temperature by 3 degrees. If you want to restrict the temperature rise to 1.5 degrees centigrade, then we need to reduce the emissions by 2030 than the level of 2019 by 50%. Let us discuss some brief about IPCC. IPCC is an intergovernmental panel on climate change which was created in 1988 by WMO and UNEP. IPCC relies for research reports on various individual scientific organizations. They submit their reports voluntarily to IPCC, based on which IPCC formulates various climate policies which guides the governments to plan out their policies for their countries to fight the climate change. That is, IPCC does not conducts its own research. It relies on various organizations and individuals for the contribution of their report. Apart from the GST, that is global stock take, various agendas are under discussion in Bonn. One such issue is loss and damage fund, which was created under the COP27 in Egypt. Mitigation under the Sharm el-Sheikh work program on the global goal on adaptation. Further, adaptation financing mechanism under the new collective quantified goals, that is yet to be finalized, for the finance mobilization for the adaptation and discussion is going on Article 6, that is a rule book for carbon trading among the countries. Now coming to the fault line. So fault line exists between developed and developing countries. Countries such as the United States is saying that the countries such as India must diversify their NDC targets, and all the sectors shall be included as part of their NDC targets. As India has made significant progress in meeting the renewable energy targets, yet the measures to control the methane emission has been very limited. Therefore, the developed countries are focusing on developing countries so that they widen their NDC targets. Yet the India has made its stance that countries maintain their sovereign rights. Countries maintain their sovereign rights in meeting the NDC targets or deciding the NDC targets. Further, the developing countries are stressing the need that the pre-2020 gap in fully filling the emission control measures or finances, the developed countries must be held accountable, and that should be carried forwarded in deciding the next course of action. Further, there is a difference which exists in between the loss and damage and mitigation and adaptation, where they should be tackled separately or there should be a comprehensive agenda in fighting them. With this, the current agendas which are in place in the Bonn Conference will decide the future course of action under the Paris Climate Deal and which will set the road ahead after COP28 this year.